What is up, maniacs? Welcome back to Sound and Pound. We are your hosts, Drake Griggs and Alex Behunin, here to bring you another installment of our wacky and weird MMA podcast show that we do every Tuesday. So happy Tuesday. It is January 23rd, 2024. Almost through January already, Alex. Where is the time going, my man? I know that feeling a little under the weather today, but aside from that, how are things? How was the weekend viewing experience from home for UFC 297? Just everything in Alex world.
I'm really glad I decided not to go because all week I saw how fucking cold it was in Toronto. So I'm like, I'm glad I stayed in. Like, it's cold in Vegas, but not that cold.
Yes, yeah. It looked from what I was checking, I think it got around kind of 10ish degrees, pretty pretty chilly there, which I was dealing with the last week, but it's finally warming up again here. We're up to like 50 now, which is a big change. So I will take it as still definitely getting through this time of year. But you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you are watching, feel free to get in your comments, questions, concerns, all that throughout the show. As today, since there is no UFC this weekend, I think we're going to kind of just shift gears to a little sporadic Q&A show for the most part. Still, of course, going to recap 297, focus a little bit and preview 165, which is the big first one championship show of the year. Believe they might have had one a couple weeks ago, but this is their big kind of return to pay-per-view, return to Japan and all that, and have some very good fights on it. So we will be talking about that a bit, but mostly, of course, whatever you guys want to talk about as well, recapping or looking ahead, all that good stuff. And then, of course, the movie club ain't going nowhere, baby. That's the bread and butter. But aside from that, follow, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff on the socials for MMAmania.com. So I think before we get right into UFC 297, James hitting us with a question right out the gate, which I think is well timed because Alex, before we get into UFC 297 as well, this has been a very weird kind of reactionary period to fights that I've ever seen, and we'll get more into that. But James specifically kicking us off here. Good to see you, my friend. Do you think that we are in the engagement era of MMA? It seems like the content creators I enjoy have stopped making analysis videos since they are annoyed by the new fans making engagement bait lists. I'm assuming he means bait. That says bear, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm referring to. Is that, of course, we're going to talk about the main event, but Alex, one thing I've seen more than any fight in recent memory, I think is, and I know this happens all the time with close fights, which drives me fucking insane. Close fights are not robberies. The amount of robbery bait for this fight specifically has been ungodly. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen it this bad before. And I think it is kind of tapping into a little bit of what James is saying with the engagement era, where that's all it fucking is. You click on that shit. Like, even fighters, unfortunately, like O'Malley, for example, is one I saw. He's not calling it robbery, but the thumbnail is like robbery, like this nonsense type of thing. And everybody's doing it now. Drives me insane, especially when it's not a robbery. Like, if it is, all right. But no, that's not the case. Sean Strickland loses the title, split decision to Dracus du Plessis. Incredibly close fight, very fun fight. About, I think, what we expect in terms of how it played out, Alex. But I'm not mad at either direction it goes. I rewatched it last night just to make sure, because I was kind of in party mode during the fight, so I didn't get the best analysis or watching, but I scored it 1-1-3-5 for Strickland, actually. I did think he got it done, but I'm not mad at all. It was, some of those rounds were incredibly close, could have gone either way. Point is, not a robbery. Just give me your thoughts on this fight, because it was a good one, but this stuff ruins it a little bit for me.
Yeah, sure does. I scored a 125 for Strickland, but like you said, if someone scored it 125 Dracus, it is what it is. It was a very, very close fight. And dude, I mean, it's just the word robbery in MMA is gone. Like
It's not a thing anymore.
it doesn't mean what it's supposed to mean. And when a robbery does happen, like it just doesn't, it's like doesn't hold the same gravitas as it does, which sucks, man, because
because
I
there
mean,
are
I get it,
legit
bro.
robberies out there.
1000%. I mean, Leo Machida versus Shogun one is, I mean, it is.
I actually
God,
argue against that
yeah.
one, but a fair example.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I just hate how people anytime it's a close fight, it's a robbery, and it just, it just takes the power out of the word. But yeah, I mean, the fight was crazy. I mean, who would have thought Dreykus would be the one that would kept coming forward against Sean Strickland. Looked good in the fifth round. Everyone thought like if it was going 5 rounds, Strickland was definitely winning.
And who knows, baby?
Dude, yeah, Nuno Dreykus. Yeah, I mean it was a very fascinating fight to watch because Sean, I don't know, like those rounds 3 and 4. I don't know if he was just taking like he just was taking those rounds off, or if maybe Dragus pressure got to him, or he was trying to adapt the game plan. Like it was interesting. What was your analysis of it?
So specifically with those two, I was going to chime in right there and say I think that round 4 specifically, that was when like his eye cut got real bad, and it was very visibly affecting him. So I think that kind of made him a little bit more hesitant, and those were the worst moments of him not being able to see. He's obviously said some stuff about that since yesterday and whatnot, but he kind of let a little bit more get through in that round, and I think that actually round 4, I would say, was probably the clearest, I thought, which was the Drakus round. He got some takedowns at the end of the fight, and at the end of that round, got him throughout the fight, really. But again, it was that thing I was talking about last week, how this played out almost for the most part like we were thinking, Alex, where Sean Strickland, again, has incredible get-up ability. In MMA, his grappling defense, very solid. You can get him down, sure, but you ain't going to hold him there for very long. Like it was very like impressive to see him just do the thing that we know he's capable of doing, but so often, and not getting tired, and really effectively held down, especially as the fight went on. But yeah, in the third round, that one was incredibly close too. I know that was literally the swing round on the judges' scorecards. You guys, if you did not see them, it literally came down to the third round for the judges. They had all the other rounds scored the same, which I believe it was 1-5 Strickland, 2-4. So it was like kind of sandwiched there, 2-4 for Drakus, and then they couldn't decide exactly on the third round there, which is fair. Again, like I think I understand probably any score that you could give this fight, except Drakus has to win the fourth round. I think that was the one I'm for sure most comfortable with. And then 5 was that one was pretty. No, all the other ones are pretty close, but round 4, I would say. But the thing about the pressure, like you were saying there too, was they did mostly meet in the middle, like we thought. Both these guys were going to come at each other, like to dictate. But the thing was, I think more so as the fight went on, Drakus was able to hold it for longer, right? It seemed like he ended up taking over slightly, not like a lot, where Strickland was real tight back against the cage, like as the fight went on, but he was losing it by, it was like 60-40, like kind of that close in terms of who was dictating the pace. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we see these complaints and stuff, and I don't even know if it's real, Alex, because like if people are actually watching this, like it's been a very, very odd past week, really, because of the fight week and all the politics involved.
And then people were saying it's like one of the best fights of all time.
That's
Like,
insane too.
what?
That's fucking absolutely absurd as well.
Like what? Like, bro, like, yeah. I feel like there was, I feel like this fight kind of bled through to like other sports fans. So it was like other sports fans watching this, and then we kind of
Yeah,
heard their opinions of it. Um, like it wasn't just in the MMA
right.
bubble. But yeah, no, I mean, it is what it is. The other thing about the fight was I was very surprised at like how mellow Dreykus was, right? Like usually, like first 3 rounds, he fucking comes and he throws
Yes.
everything into it. And I'm guessing that was part of the game plan. Like he did not want to blow his load against Sean and then have to kind of like survive. Like it was very kind of like still
Even
throughout,
keel, yeah.
yeah. So
It was interesting too. I remember like kind of, and I noticed it maybe not as much on my rewatch last night, but when it was happening live and watching it through some blurrier glasses, you could say. I was noticing though, and this just did happen, but like it more so in the early rounds. But Drakus was throwing a lot of kind of overhand type of shots. Like he wasn't really going too straight with his shots, which is like trying to go around everything Strickland does. He's very, until the end, he kind of got a little sloppier, of course, and, was throwing some wild hooks. But, he's all about his jab, likes to throw the teep out there and things like that. Very direct, to the point kind of striker for the most part. And so when Drakus was like kind of trying to go around these things, like that's just not working out very well, which we saw primarily in the first round, right? Like, again, it was still a very close one, but feel pretty comfortable, saying that was a Sean round as well, which again, all judges scored it that way. I think most people will agree with that one, but he adapted very well. I think was the big thing that was what we learned the most about Du Plessis in the fight was, okay, when not that the going gets tough, but when it's competitive enough to where he needs to make some changes, he can, while still sticking to what is working, like mixing in his takedowns, even though he's not holding him down, he's getting them. He knows kind of the flow of the fight. He flowed very well with this, with the just kind of where the action was going in this one. And guy's durable. I mean, that eye was swelling out pretty bad, Alex. I was getting worried there towards the end, but yeah, and even I was kind of surprised they didn't even look at Sean's because it was literally like right on his eyeball. So we got some good violent doctors in Canada. But
yeah, right.
it was definitely a fascinating one, before and after here. Dana not so keen on a immediate rematch, which I think is good, Alex. We need to not do those as often as possible, I think. But we do move on to the question of what is next. Apparently, what Du Plessis had a boot on his foot as he went into the press conference, was kind of limping out of the cage. Haven't heard any updates specifically if he's got the foot injury again, maybe coming back from, the Whitaker fight that he had earlier. But what do we think is going to happen now? The middleweight division, my man. Is he going to make it to 300? Is it going to be Hamza? Is it going to be Izzy?
It's tough because Hamza and Izzy, like you can make an argument both of them don't deserve it, right? Like
yes,
Hamza has yet to fight anybody in the top 15 middleweight rankings. And Izzy's coming off a loss to Sean Strickland. So like, but then again, there's like, you look at the top 15, there's the Sean rematch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after Izzy, there's Rob Whitaker. Dreykus beat him.
I fight next month.
Yeah. Cannonier. I mean, no.
Yeah, please no. For entertainment purposes. Please.
Number 5 is Vittori. He's fighting Brendan Allen, and then Paulo Costa. So like, he could fight Paulo Costa if he beats Whitaker, but like, I feel like the fight, as much as like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but if he's ready to go and he can turn around for UFC 300, then you just capitalize on Izzy versus Dreykus. I mean, that's just like there's history there. It's probably the biggest fight that can be made at the moment. You just go for it. I mean, it's sellable. 2 names. Izzy's, make an argument. He's one top 3 biggest star in the UFC. So like, you probably do that. I mean, you could do the Dreykus versus. I mean, you could run back the rematch at UFC 300 too if they really wanted to. I'm just against Hamza getting the shot. I just don't think he deserves it.
Yeah, I know it is kind of weird now, and when you laid it all out like that, like it's this is crazy to say, but we go fast forward to UFC 298, right? That the Whitaker Paulo is on that one. It's not 299. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's next month. If Paulo wins, he probably makes the most sense, actually, right? Like by default. Then
there's definitely an argument for sure.
So like, again, that would obviously cut it a little bit closer for him to make that turnaround. I don't necessarily, especially trusting Costa to even get to that fight. We still gotta wait and see. So speaking of way ahead of myself,
steps into the cage, I'm not going to believe he's fighting.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. I would be very stunned if I feel like out of the three most likely options, right? You said Izzy, Hamzat, and Sean. Very blatant. Um, I think Strickland immediate rematch is clearly the most unlikely. But then I think like depending on how this did, like they get the internal numbers and whatnot, they're like, all right, well, we'll try out these other guys first, but we have a great backup plan here numbers wise, and then especially with the kind of crazy reactions we've been seeing, there's something to maybe go off of there. But obviously there may be some non-fight related things to worry about with some, one of those guys, Hamzat we're talking about here. Have to get that sorted. Plenty of time, presumably. Adesanya, he's been kind of like teasing. I don't know. He's all up in the air with his return time, I think. But if they offer him the perfect offer and whatnot, UFC 300 main event, Drakus, who knows how much money? I mean, he's going to take that. Yeah, that's the one. And I think that fans might complain initially, but because of it being that fight, they'll get over it real fast. Like it's what should have happened. It's what should have happened. Just, have fun, get it out of the way. And I'm not the guy who says that normally. So I have no idea. I think it's a real coin flip between those two. Like if you had to bet though, Alex, between Hamzat and Izzy, who would you put bet the house on? Gun to your head.
Izzy. So I've heard from several different sources Hamzat cannot get into America. So like he's unless they're going to South Africa or they're going
Right.
somewhere else, Hamzat's not fighting in America anytime soon. Now there's a UFC could probably pull some things out of their ass and maybe get like a week visa or like a week whatever
Right.
and get him to fight, but it's I think it's gonna be Izzy Dreykus. The question is it gonna be at UFC 300 or not?
Right. Yeah, that's kind of the big hinge there. And again, we got to see exactly how healthy Duplessis is. Maybe more so with the foot. We know the face swelling isn't always too long lasting, but yeah, a lot of intrigue from this first pay-per-view, and we will continue talk about some of the other fights on the card, of course. But first, let's get to some of these questions. As we said, we will focus on you guys. James here asking, don't get me wrong, there are guys like you two that do fantastic work. That is an analysis. Appreciate it. More referring to people saying that Drake is for Sean was robbery when it was competitive fight. Yeah, we pretty much touched on that. Very annoying. Appreciate it though, as always, James. Rio is here. Says, do you like our nickname for Drakus in Protect Your Neck? Third Rikers Duplessis. No, I don't think that's great because of his obsession and views on South African colonialism. If you're familiar with his history, it's really bad look for Drakus. Haven't looked super in deep to that, but that's quite a nickname. Yeah. Synchro says, what are your thoughts on the current UFC code of conduct? Oh boy, showed by John Nash. Wait, is there one, Synchro, that states they cannot say hurtful things to the LGBTQ community and not being upheld by Dana? So yeah, the code of conduct has not existed for several years. I think that is very, very clear, Alex. But yeah, that was obviously the probably story of Fight Week. So didn't get your reaction to it. Well, I guess let's briefly touch on it. I suppose it is the past now, but what did you make of all that?
I mean, I understand AK Lee's question. I get why he said it, but I just feel like wasn't the time or place, and he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly how Sean was going to react. I mean, what the fuck do you expect? Like that's what it all comes down to. Like Sean's stance on it. His comments. Why the fuck would he walk back his comments when there's been no reason why you would think that he would walk back his comments? I feel like, especially like media, like it feels like a one-on-one like spot. Maybe you ask him there, but like a media day in Canada, like it wasn't the right place. And I mean, do I think he was baited into it? Like he was baiting him? I mean, not necessarily, but I just feel like you knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, and for the debate aspect specifically, it's like fighting used nothing of that, So literally,
Yeah.
they were not doing it for themselves. AK was not doing it for that regard. I mean, he is a Toronto citizen, and he made that very clear. He was just being supportive, which totally understand. I really understand kind of all sides to all the arguments about that. The big thing I think I disagree with, or that kind of stood out to me, was just like, well, Sean was just kind of a dick for no reason to him, kind of like on the evil of the world, and like, really attacked him in that regard personally, which I thought was a little bit off. And it's kind of funny though, because it counters everything that he said about, he's talking about free speech and that kind of stuff. Well, then he's allowed to ask that stuff too. So it's kind of the counter there. Again, I get both sides, all sides kind of to this. I think the biggest takeaway, I think, for hopefully most people, is kind of what you said there, Alex, where probably the wrong setting. But again, yes, gotta find.
Yeah, it's like you've heard enough Sean Strickland comments. You've heard enough Sean Strickland media days. You've heard enough Sean Strickland interviews. Like, you know what he's gonna say. Like, just don't even bring it up. Like, it's just.
Yeah, it's definitely definitely a conversation. But essentially, Synchro, yeah, no code of conduct anymore. We
Yeah.
definitely used to. If this was 2012-ish, 2013, yeah, Strickland's getting suspended for like at least a month. We've seen it happen with Miguel Torres, with Nate Diaz, even. Mitrione got in trouble once. I think those are the big cases. But yeah, there was a clip that surfaced today of Dana literally saying that, actually, which is very funny, and I almost want to pull it up. But
Frank Mir lost his job with WEC, saying that he wanted to be the first one to kill Brock Lesnar inside the octagon.
really, I didn't know that. That's really funny, because it's just like, it's got a fight context. That's pretty hilarious. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good throwback. And James says, do you guys think that 2015, 2021 was the hot take era, as opposed to what we have now, which is the engagement era? That sounds very accurate, actually, James, when I
I
think
mean,
about it.
you could put a hot take as as a engagement. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Like, that's
that's a good point. Yeah, people
you know
really
what I'm
double it up.
saying? Exactly.
But in terms of timeline, yeah, I think that's pretty good, actually. Go says, why do fans talk like, he's talking about Drakus is not intelligent fighter when he clearly is? I think, yeah, I mean, again, like I said, I think this fight really highlighted that, but I think it's the optics. Fans will see, and that's kind of been on Twitter what I've seen in terms of the backlash of this being the greatest fight, one of the greatest fights of all time, which it's not. It was very good, but then people point out like the sloppiness, which really mostly happened in the last round. Honestly, like a lot of the highlights you'll see of them just winging wildly, that was from round 5 more than any other round by far. So I think it's maybe just the optics that throw off people. And I mean, Duplessis has just kind of been like that his whole career. Like, he's not the cleanest of striker. Very effective. We know he's very awkward, but when you see things like that, it just makes people think wild, not smart, kind of crazy fighter. Even though, again, like you're saying, the stuff he does works out very well, and the way he chains it together, all that, and then also has, yeah, his mechanics are weird, exactly, but his specific ideas to his specific, I mean, nailed it, Ghost. So um, I think that's the main thing, is just the optics, right, Alex? The kind of
Yeah.
his just weirdness, that herky jerky Keith Jardine modern day middleweight.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's like it's just his movie. Like, he doesn't fight like a typical uh, fighter. It's like
Yeah.
it's very different, and that's what makes him dangerous, and that's what makes him the UFC middleweight champion.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Well done. And Rio says, how funny will it be to watch Dern get knocked out by Amanda Lemos? Rude. You think Dern accepted that fight because you think she can replicate what Whaley did when Dern has horrendous wrestling? Highly doubt that last
I
part.
mean, it's a fucking horrible fight to take after getting knocked out by Jessica
I know,
Andrade.
it's like next to the worst. But no, I think that will be very sad, but very possible. Rio. Yeah, no, that's a very tough matchup for her. I I don't know. I don't know in terms of how she's looking at it, and what best case scenario, of course, is always get on top of her opponents. But again, that's just not the easiest thing for her to do. So, um, yeah, early lean is definitely Lemos in that one. But I think she's probably just feeling kind of like desperate a little bit and needing, wanting to turn around and get the win there.
Should turn
Big
around and
potential.
got
Yeah,
a
I mean,
fucking
but
way up fight.
if she wins though, then it's like one of those great spots. So when they offered it to her, I'm sure it was probably a no brainer for her to, jump on it. Which I get that. You go from that tough loss to you win that fight, you beat Lemo. She was just a title contender. Then she's kind of right back to where she already was a little bit. Just kind of puts her in a very good spot. So it'll be interesting while it lasts. But UFC Apex Predator says Natan Levy versus Mike Davis and GM3 versus Barbara just got announced.
I'll say
Okay.
I was sitting on that Levy Davis fight, but I couldn't. It wasn't signed at the moment.
Ooh, that's a good one though. I love me some Mike Davis. Levy's been very good as well. And GM3 and Barbara, that's got to be middleweight, right? Barbara at middleweight. Yeah. What the hell? That is a bizarro matchup, but I will take it. And Kulibao versus Danny Silva. He says, all right, we're getting some flow in here. Good deal. Richard, what is up? We have decided after success, we are going to start kissing all our fighters on the mouth. Hashtag gorilla kisses. All right. That sounds gross. Sigger says, why would the UFC go to South Africa? They didn't go to Africa with 3 African champions. They botched the China card and the Mexico card. Yeah, logic does not prevail in terms of these ideas.
In that case, they're not going to UFC. They're not going to Africa.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny though. Like I've seen people be like, "Watch, this will be the time they do it."
1000%.
Just look as completely racist as possible. So goes Mexico card when they had 2.5 champions in Grasso. I like the half there, but that is accurate. Alvin, what is up, man? Hello. I truly love the show because of thoughtful and respectful talk about sport. I mean, we try. Of course, we have slip ups every now and then, but we're human. Richard says most people's optics are jaded by what they believe striking should be. That is 1,000,000% accurate. Most have zero idea what effective striking actually is. No, that is nail on the head, Richard. And I think that's been one of kind of the biggest things about one of the biggest reasons fight fans can be so absolutely shitty is because of the fact that, and I've had this conversation with Ricky Simone and Jake Smith in the past before. I remember specifically with them because it's like everybody thinks they can fight, not everybody. You can't, grow up and play fighting like you can football or basketball or team sport and have that humbling experience until you actually get in there. So all these dumbasses, of course, sitting in there, chairs, Cheeto fingers, telling fighters they can kick their ass.
Yeah,
they don't know that they really can't. So I think Richard really nailed that. But Rio says if Strickland isn't getting a rematch, will he be back? No, I think he's done with those. He's definitely done with the Apex shows. That'd be surprising to me, Alex. What do you think?
It all depends on the fight, but I mean, probably not. I think you can,
depending on if he wants to like be super active or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I just feel like they can literally take Sean Strickland anywhere right now and he'd sell.
I mean, yeah, he's going to enemy territories and becoming fan favorite. Like he's a very, very unique guy in that regard. And I mentioned this too. I think it was while watching the press conference, Alex, this stood out to me. But like, dude, like maybe not so much in fights as others historically, but like who feeds off the crowd more than this guy? like it's insane.
And he's been behind the Apex for the past 3 years. Like,
that's what bummed me out. It's like, how did you do this to that guy? So
yeah, it's a trip.
It's very crazy in hindsight. But what is also crazy in hindsight, Alex, is to see where Rocky Pennington was and for her to win the title as we knew she would. This again. I think we called both these fights good T. They went exactly how we expected they should have if certain things didn't happen. Mayra Bueno Silva teases, has these opportunities for some rear naked chokes multiple times throughout the fight. Can't get them. She loses in the war of attrition. Rocky P, veteran type championship performance. I mean, what a story.
I feel like this was the most layup. Like, this is like you knew Rocky was going to win. Like, this 1000%. Like, it was so crazy to see how many people were on Myra
Yes.
Bueno Silva. Like, it was just like, bro, like, what? Like, how does she win if she's not going to tap
Yeah.
Raquel? There's no way, there's no way. And because of that, Rocky won me some money. Um, and I mean, I'm very happy for her, but it's probably the worst thing for the division. If we're
Yeah.
being
Well, yeah.
if we're being honest, like, yeah, I mean, the fight was dog shit. Myra Bueno Silva being last round just on her back, like not being able to move, like it
Right.
was just like it was a really yeah, it
It
just.
was a
But
wake
I
up call,
mean,
I think, for her
yeah,
a
one
lot.
thousand percent. That's actually a very very good word to use. But I mean, but then again, like we all expected it to not be a good fight. So I mean, it's like what do we expect? Um, I just want to say it was really nice to see Raquel finally claim that gold. I've obviously watched her since Tough,
Yeah.
and to see her get the shit kicked out of her against Amanda,
Yeah.
and then lose to Holly again, and then just kind of rebuild herself up to win the title. It's awesome to see, especially 35 years old. Very very hard thing to do. 10 years, I think 11 years in the UFC now.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's always cool to see those uh, types of wins. But
Yeah.
if I,
No, I hear you. I hear you. That's the thing. Like, it's all about the story for me. And I mean, I
yeah,
think when you really assess Pennington, that's what this whole thing has been. And like, dude, I mean, just like we don't get a lot of like interviews from her. Like hearing about her because, of course, I mean, she's been on a lot of fight nights and kind of the winning streak she's been on now. But just kind of as her career's gone on. But like, you listen to her speak, man, and like, she really specifically, I'm looking at like, I'm sure you saw the clip from the interview with Aaron Bronstetter. Shout out to him that she did right after the win. But like, she's just incredibly well spoken and fits like that championship role way better already, I think, than I ever would have imagined. Like, she, I mean, you can't go wrong with that kind of side of things. Like, she's really got great composure, and I think it's obviously a lot of the experience and where she's, you know, been and all that stuff. So, yeah, can't help but feel happy for her. And this is interesting though, Alex, because going forward is the interesting thing about the bantamweight division, which is probably at an all-time low.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe not even
want
probably.
that dude? Well, you look at that division, you're like, holy woof, holy fuck, that is a shitty division. And the thing is like, how is Juliana Pena gonna walk in and get a title shot after getting fucking destroyed by Amanda Nunes? Like, that's like, but then like you look at like who else is there? Like, you could run it back with Irene Aldana.
Hmm.
That was 2019 split decision.
Yep.
You could do that. I mean, at least Irene's coming off a win, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
there's that argument. Um, Holly has 2 wins over her, but Holly's coming off a loss
Yeah. Yeah.
to Myra. So like, it's dude. I mean, I threw out Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, if Valentina wants to go up and win a second belt, it's fucking
It's
prime for
just
the
asking
taking.
for it.
But I mean, you look at that division; it is fucking rough.
So I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen this mentioned whatsoever yet. But I think absolute best case scenario here, in kind of all aspects, promotional wise for UFC, probably fight wise, all the things. It's not going to be next, but best case is to get to Rocky versus Misha too. I think that's the wild card that nobody's been mentioning because of all the tie-ins there and where we're at, state of the division, all this. That's one of those rematches because you got to look at this too. Raquel Pennington has beat or fought in practically the whole division already, which makes this like even more like, ooh, what do we do? We're just gonna be kind of in this cycle of things potentially. So I think in terms of freshness, even though and the business side, I guess we're gonna get Pena next, which I just don't even want to think about that.
Dude, I'm fucking boycotting it, bro. I don't. The only thing interesting from it is the storyline, right? Both
Yes.
on Tough, they don't like each other. But other than that, I just don't think Juliana Pena deserves a fucking title shot after
No.
getting destroyed. You know, it's
And having not fought since then, yeah, it's
yeah,
kind of it's like Stipe-ish territory almost with the
yeah,
time away.
for sure.
But yeah, I mean that's the interesting thing though, Alex, is
And her fucking trash talk is so fucking cringy. If I can't listen to it anymore. Like I've tried. It's just
she's gotten
fucking
more over the top
dude. It is
by the minute.
dude. It's getting up there with fucking Colby to Covington. I swear to God, dude. It
No.
is fucking cornball. Just
Yeah,
shut
no.
up, bro. Like, God, it's so
You're
bad.
very right. It's very blatantly yeah, what it is. Um but yeah, I mean that's the weird thing though, is looking at the division two and kind of this state that we're in. I do actually think though that Rocky could get off a couple title defenses, right? Like Holly appears to clearly be the kryptonite. I think an Aldana rematch with 5 rounds, super interesting. I actually would really probably love to see that one the most, even though I would love to see the Misha one too, just for kind of all the aspects of that. But really, again, like I said, she's already beaten mostly everybody, Alex, especially on this, winning streak. So um I could see her holding it for at least like 2 title defenses, depending on what they want to give her. But Valentina, of course, that's the nightmare if that could happen. Which I'm
Kayla
very curious
Harrison
to
coming
hear.
over to the UFC.
Fighting a man away, just hey, she's in the middle of some stuff. We'll hear some news soon. But it is a wild time. It is a wild time for
Dude, it's just so crazy how a couple years ago the flyweight division was the dog shit division of the UFC, and now
I mean, they
that
opened it in
division
a terrible way, but yeah.
1000% right. Like it was so bad for so long. Now that division is like thriving, and the bantamweight
Mhm.
division is just like, dude,
And I mean that hurt it a lot too, was opening that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy though, because like just globally, like the bantamweight division, there's no bright prospects. There's nothing just anywhere in the world. It's very insane kind of. I don't know what happened, right? Like I mean, obviously there was the talent there 10 years ago, but then it all, came together, people dropped. I don't know. It's weird. There's just not as many heavier talented fighters anymore. But is what it is. Oh boy, James, this perfectly ties into what we were just talking about. But he says, for the most nonsensical press conference, would you put Strickland, Covington, and Pena in the same press? Dude, that'd be torture.
Fucking kill me. Kill me. Oh, fucking
That
kill me.
is brutal. Go says he has a hot take for MBS versus Rocky P. All right, let's hear it. As MBS showed up with some cool techers, while Rocky showed up like a professional, being well conditioned, as she always does. Indeed, happy for Rocky, but not looking forward to watching her fights. Yeah, like she's got moments, right? Like she'll have moments, but she just collectively is not the most exciting fighter. Again, adore her as a person and all that, but yeah, it's gonna be an interesting title run. Rio says, "Why didn't CD versus Tavares get the fight of
Got
the night
robbed a little bit.
bonus? I thought that was better than Strickland versus 2+. That fight was really good. I wasn't giving it 100% attention, maybe about 80, but yeah, it was a very good fight. So I wasn't watching really closely enough to comfortably give out who I thought won either. But did they get the decision right, Alex? It was a split. What did you think about that one?
No, I thought City 100% won.
I
Actually I
think I
thought
saw
that
more
was
people say this was a robbery than
yeah,
yeah, than
1000%.
anything.
1000 like I don't see how Ramon Tavares got that fight in any facet.
Yeah.
I think he got
So
one. I think he got one round one, and then round two and three were definitely C.
right. Yeah, that's always the annoying thing too about the bonuses when they obviously, like, there's no anything about this, but they clearly favor more up higher up on the card. That's
Which
always
is
been the
stupid
case.
because the prelim fighters need the
They need
bonuses
it more. Yeah.
way more than any main card fighter.
Yeah, that's weird. But also 2 extra rounds in that fight. You make that argument, but yeah, no, that was a good
I
one.
mean, you
I know.
fucking take the two, fucking give them three extra rounds.
Yes.
Still wasn't a better fight than City
Right.
Tavares, whatever. Whatever.
Synchro says, "Is UFC bantamweight division your guys' favorite division?" The men's side, yes, yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Indeed, no question, best division on the planet. Jen is here. What is up, man? Since I asked Chris Presnell this, does middleweight have a bunch of well-rounded but very flawed fighters, which makes it incredibly interesting? Yeah, I think we've talked about that actually a while back, but
I think any of them can be any of them on any date. That's the
mhm,
thing. Like there's not one guy there that's like lot like a John Jones, right? Saying like this is gonna smash all of them. I think
right.
all of them beat. I think all of them beat all of them.
So this is not a perfect time. This is a good segue. Perfect time would have been at the beginning of the fucking show because I'm a dumbass. Our MMA Mania question of the day for our show is middleweight the new light heavyweight, which segues this perfectly. And what I meant by phrasing that was the hot potato nature of light heavyweight, excluding John Jones, Daniel Cormier, before and after, right? Like belts all over the place. Are we in that state again, Alex, with middleweight? It's looking like it.
There's a fucking very good argument. Yeah, I mean, you literally look at the top 15. Like, there's not one person in there that like can get the belt and hold it forever. Like, obviously, there's Izzy, and he went on that long run, but like, we've seen him lose
Mm-hmm.
twice now in the last 2 years. So, um, yeah, I mean, 1000%. I think whoever beats Strikers next is going to lose to whoever's next, and then they're going to lose to whoever's next, and
Right.
it's just until Bo Nickel gets there, and then
He's gonna hold down the fort.
he's going to hold it, bro. Actually, Brent Allen's going to get it.
I was waiting for you to say that.
And then and then he'll
Bo.
lose it, and then he'll lose it.
Oh man. I mean, honestly though, like I think that's when divisions are most fun. Really, when
Yeah.
there's the possibility of everyone can compete with each other. Like that was literally people's problem. I loved watching Demetrius's reign, right? But like that was the thing was he was
Demetrius,
here,
John Jones, Down Tina, GSP,
right?
bro. Everybody,
It makes things look way worse. Yeah.
yeah, 1000%. And then they get backlash for being so dominant, right?
Yeah, like
Like,
that's not fair. That's not fair at all. Like
yeah,
that was always the thing is those divisions, maybe some more than others, but they were still very good. Just the guy at the top was much better. Like everyone else
yeah,
competes very well with each other, but that guy's just fucking God or whoever. So
yeah.
it's wild. It's always wild when that happens. But Alvin asking, did UFC 297 have no injury suspensions? That would be very good news. Lots of fighters get injured and have to take up time. Hasn't no report yet on that, Alvin. Probably hear about it sometime this week. Usually I don't think it's this quick anyway, but I'm sure that there are some definite like the injury suspensions, they can be even for like the smallest of things. Like I would be sure both Strickland and Duplessis will have, 3 months at least or whatever, which they're give or take on how important they really are. So, yeah. Synchro says people talk about Saint Denis only fighting for 6 years and getting very good. Don't you guys find that weird? Since a lot of people get good at MMA in 6 years. Yeah, no, it's incredibly impressive, Synchro. I know Alex is very high on BSD, as a lot of people should be at this point. But I mean, yeah, his story is pretty wild for him to be at this point that quickly. Which again, there's some people who are just built that way, and you want to highlight a prime example. I'm going to throw out Saya Kizawa because she's got her fight announced today, but there are some fighters who they just get it, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah. All right, Alex. Well, before we, highlight a little bit of 165 action, anything else we want to take away or highlight off UFC 297? I got some that we can pick at, but for you, any good mentions here?
Yeah, I got a couple. Thank you, Neil Magny, for making me some money.
Crazy.
I fucking called that. I called it. I just, I mean, I did, but also there's like 15 seconds left in the fight, so
Yeah.
like,
You were probably shitting yourself.
yeah. So I mean, but he just kind of he's the fucking
The
He's the
gatekeeperiest gatekeeper.
dude, the fucking
The
go
goat
gatekeeper,
keeper.
bro. Yeah, like he's
Shout out to Sean Al-Shadi said that on the post fight. The
oh, did
goat
he?
keeper.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, so that I thought the Chris Curtis versus Mark Andre Barrio fight was fine. Like I don't know why some people I think it's just people hate Chris Curtis, so they think anything he does sucks.
Right.
Mosar versus Arnold Allen, fucking fantastic fight.
So let's talk about that very quickly though, because I mean Dana hated that. I really enjoyed the shit out of it, and I think it really
I think
proves
he got
Evloev's the
it.
guy.
I think he got confused about what fight
Okay.
because people started asking him about
Like, wait a minute.
another fight, and then like he got it confused. So
Okay.
I think he was looking at. I think he was thinking of a different fight.
Okay. Because yeah, no, I thought that was great too. Obviously, some controversy with the knees, but
And
what you gonna do?
Mosar, man, he's I don't think he's gonna get a title shot next because of his non-finishing ability. So I think he's gonna have to go through somebody
One
else,
more.
but he's fucking right there.
Yeah.
Jaron Villel is the worst person in MMA currently. He's by far the worst.
The worst individual human.
Dude, abs- dude, I would take anybody over this fucking dumbass, bro. Like he's literally a fucking idiot. Like what? How are these commissions hiring this fucking dumb motherfucker, bro? Like he's not good at his job, and if someone's not good at their job, why should they have a job? Like he can't ref, he can't fucking judge, he can't even hold the fucking right person's arm up. Like he fucking sucks, and I don't want to see him anywhere around MMA anymore. And then lastly, it was nice to see Jimmy Flick get that win. He really needed it. Looks like Jane is gonna get him a new contract. And actually, I like one more. Jasmine beat the fuck out of Zombie Girl.
Yeah, that should have been stopped like at the end of the first round, in my opinion. Like that was
Beat
insane.
her down, and it's just crazy how Priscilla came in the UFC, got beat up, and then
Gonna leave, getting beat up.
getting beat up. Like
what a saga. Yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, I obviously I named basically the entire card right there.
Yeah, you nailed the ones I would have mentioned too.
So how would you rate after seeing it
Ooh.
all? How would you rate UFC 297, the first pay per view of 2024?
Out of 10 or
Out of 10.
A to F out of 10.
Out of 10.
Like it was, I think, a very, very solid. I'm gonna say a 7. Like it wasn't the best in the world. It wasn't terrible. It was perfectly enjoyable. Like I would say, good. You know, just like it was good overall. Fine. I know a lot of people were really hating on it before, but and then after, I've seen it's not get very much love. It's definitely not going to be the most memorable, like best event of the year or anything like that. But that was fine. There were, you know, it started off super hot, obviously with the 4 finishes. You know, and then of course the main event and kind of those in betweens. Yeah, it was enjoyable. It was just fine for me. So you agree with that more or less?
I kind of want to give it like a 5 out of 10.
I'd say it's 5 at the bare minimum for sure. Yeah, just
Yeah,
fine.
like
Just fine.
you know, yeah, I can't really explain myself. I just think it's like just like a 5 out of 10. Like I'm not gonna remember it next, like starting next week. Like it's not gonna be in my
Yeah.
memory at all. There's not gonna be a fight that I'm gonna go back and watch again. Like,
Yeah, that's definitely the big thing about it, I would say. All right, let's get some of these questions here real quick before we do move along. Jin says, instead of one-dimensional fighters at 185, which they are not, I think the correct term is one-sided. Is that a good term to describe 185? I mean, I think one-dimensional fighter makes more sense than a one-sided fighter, but in terms of the overall division, maybe more so. I guess so a little bit. I mean, again, I feel like we've talked about this too, where it is people have kind of their strengths are very obvious, whether it's strikers or grapplers. Not too much mixing of both, at least in like very strong ways. But yeah, it's a very unique and intriguing division for those reasons. As James says, speaking of GSP, do you guys find it weird that Whaley attended a seminar a few days ago despite being in camp? No, I mean she's got plenty of time. She's got plenty of time for prep, and why not learn from the GOAT? I think nothing wrong with that. As Synchro says, I can give you the best example of getting good in 6 years. Young Whaley won the belt in 2019, despite only starting MA in 2013. He won the belt in 2019 when he first started MA in 2013. Oh, going back to Sakuzawa, she's the best example because she became the best atomweight in the world after only 14 months in the sport. So sorry, guys. She's the answer there. Incredible. And you know it. Jen says, are you guys familiar with the middleweight Roman Kopylov? Of course, I really like Kopylov, but he is incredibly flawed to add on my comment about middleweight. He's getting a lot better, though, Alex. What are your just general thoughts, I guess, on Kopylov? He's fighting again soon, right?
Yeah, he's actually fighting against Fluffy Hernandez at UFC 298.
Yeah, he's filling in for Ikram, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, his leg kicks are fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Being cage side for a few of his fights now, man, like he kicks so hard. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, as much as like really
Super
wanted
fun
to see
fight.
Fluffy versus Ikram, like
Yeah.
that fight was so fascinating. Like it's a really good one. This is a really fascinating fight too.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about 165 before we get to the movie club, Alex. There's actually some proper bangers on here. And of course, the highlight is the main event, which
So it's a pay-per-view and not on Amazon.
I believe so. I believe that is kind of the whole point of why they're going back to a numbered event. I will have to double check on that.
Wonder why they're not doing it on Amazon.
Yeah, would be a good one to do it there, but also one
like,
gonna
what
one.
I mean, it just makes zero fucking sense.
Yeah, but
Whatever.
the one championship debut of Takeru, of course, one of the best kickboxers on the planet, as he takes on another pretty darn good one in Superlek. And of course, this was supposed to be Rod Tang versus Takeru, but really the best possible replacement. I argue even better because Superlek got the win over Rod Tang. If you want to go by meritocracy standards and all, gonna be super fun. Absolutely cannot wait for that. Cade Rutolo is back as he defends in a rematch against Tommy Longacher. I actually really enjoyed their first match. That'll be fun. We got the absolute bullshit weirdness. Shinya Aoki versus Sage Northcutt. Yoshihiro Sexyama taking on Nikki Holdskin in a mixed rules match. Gary Tonen's back against Martin Wynn. Tsuki Hirata, Ayaka Miura, Danny Kingad. There are some low-key bangers up and down this whole thing. But Alex, what kind of stands out? Is it very clearly the main event? What gets you excited for this weekend's show?
Yeah, main event's gonna be just
insanity.
Just highest level striking you can get. I'm a K Rutolo fanboy, so I'm very excited for that fight. Always nice to see Sexyama. Probably gonna get his head kicked in by Nikki, but
man, he's almost 50. Poor guy. What is he doing?
And I think it's illegal what they're doing with Shinya Aoki or Sage Northcutt. Like didn't Sage call out Shinya like 5 years ago when he very first signed with them?
He called him out like right before COVID. Yeah, I remember it was like right before 2020.
So I mean, like that would have made a little bit more sense. Not 4-year-old Shinya Aoki
Yeah,
trying to
I don't know why they're
build.
still doing this.
What does this make sense for Sage other than getting a name on his resume?
And even at this point, like it's not going to mean very much. Love Shinya, he's obviously an absolute legend, one of the best lightweights of all time. But we're in 2024 also.
Yeah. Do you think this Gary Tonin versus Martin Yang is a number one contender fight?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think more so for Gary. If Gary wins, I think he'll definitely get title shot. Martin, I mean, he got kind of in a bad spot by becoming kind of the belt collector for a little bit. He had the 2 titles and then kind of lost a bit and has had the stretch. It's possible because again, one's MMA is just evaporating, so it could be right in there. And I mean, honestly, stylistically, him against Tan Lee or Tenkai going to be excellent. But Gary Tonin, I think pretty safe to assume if he wins, he'll get the title shot. So yeah, that'll be a fun one though for sure. And then of course we got the atomweight fight. It's Suki Hirata and Ayaka. Fascinating to see Ayaka Miura, the scarf hold queen. My God, no one can ever stop it unless you keep her on the feet like a panda. But she's dropping down to 115, which will be interesting to see how she, does there. Itsuki is still just 24, looking to rebound off that Sohee Ham loss from last year. Haven't seen her in a bit. That will be an interesting one. But yeah, I mean, this card, we know the thing with one championship, no matter what kind of things we can all say about them, the cards are always fun as hell. So like this one in particular has a lot of very fun potential, and of course topped off by one of the best possible kickboxing matches we can get right now. So
and it's behind pay-per-view, which no one's gonna watch.
I know. I'm curious how much it is for. I'm gonna, just for the sake of being a good host here, let's see what I can find on the website about potential pricing and how to watch. So yes, it is supposed to start Saturday night for us, Alex, right at 12. Yes, let's see, buy pay-per-view. Let's see what we got here on the price. View details. We're in real time, folks. $40. So good enough for your $40, Alex. A little too high.
Yeah.
I think if we had some more legit like MMA fights, like right in the middle there with our freak show stuff, obviously with Aoki and Akiyama, then I'd be a lot more compelled to definitely give that out. So it's a tough sell. But I mean, gosh, that main event though is really the one that might be all some people need. But
we're worth $40 for you.
Yeah, there you go. But Go says, and also the Abima, yes, Japanese TV distributor nonsense, where one is not being clear about the event. So yeah, I mean, there's always kind of interesting things going on there. Rio says, why did one even bring in Takaru? It seems like he's been trash talked, had only given one fight and not much promotion around him. Yeah, 100%. I think really, Rio, a lot of that is just to prevent him from being somewhere else. Like, again, we'll see how this goes, and going to backfire for him if he wins, which is very possible. But yeah, it's been an incredibly bizarre saga with Takeru in one championship so far, or the lack thereof him in one championship. But yeah. So on that note, you guys, we will wrap up the MMA talk until after our movie club, as it is time for the Drelex movie club, spoilers included. But of course, again, feel free to get in your questions for we'll finish and wrap them up afterward. But let's talk about some movies now. Alex, Filth from 2013 and Moonlight from 2016, two very opposite ends of the spectrum this week. But I absolutely love that. So it was funny because if you guys follow Alex on Twitter, you will see he did a good old James McAvoy post yesterday. What's the first thing you think of when you see James McAvoy? And I kind of try to notice with Alex that when he does that, it means he likes the actor. He just watched something or something like that happened. I called him out on it and he said, yes, I just watched the movie. And his response to me was incredibly vague. So I was like, all right, he's not going to give me any hints to how he feels about it. So he just said, yep, you're correct. So after you, my friend, I am dying to talk about Filth. One of my favorite movies, really.
Yeah, I mean, it was just fucking bonkers. It was just filth. It was full of filth. I mean, that's just how you kind of just describe it. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know like
where to start.
where to start with it. It's just obviously James McAvoy is so
incredible.
Good. And this movie probably got him the movie a split because of the split personalities. And it's like I want to bet this is the movie that got him that role in that but man, he was so good. It's the way he acts with his eyes.
Yes,
it's just there's so much emotion right there, and he's just truly fucking unhinged. He's
Yeah.
just like, like from fucking like just drugs, fucking anything that moves,
Yep.
to lying, to setting up his friends, to I really did like there was like the one, probably the first scene in the movie where he like gave the odds for each
Yes,
detective
yes,
trying to get
yes.
that role. Like
That was so
it was
great.
that was super clever. I do like when movies break the fourth wall and like they're talking to you. Like for I mean, obviously like during the movie it kind of didn't go as much as it started the movie, but like I really liked breaking down the fourth wall in that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just it's just it was just kind of just a batshit insane filthy movie. And you know, I was trying to decide by the end of the movie, like, do I like do I like him? Like
Right.
do I like Bruce? Because he's kind of a shitbag,
Right.
but he's kind of a shitbag that
He's your shitbag.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like some of the shit, like he's just like a filth. He's just a filthy
Yes.
fucking shitbag. So I kind of like by the end of the movie, I'm like, I feel like I kind of like him, but I kind of don't like him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that's
Still
just I'm
torn.
kind of like yeah, like I'm still torn. I do the last scene of the movie was just fucking perfect. He's gonna kill
Mhm.
himself. He sees his wife and son or ex-wife and son walk in, and he's like,
Yep.
like it
Yep,
was just
yep.
kind of like it was a perfect end to a very trauma-filled,
Yes.
broken person. Like he's a broken human being. Um, and like you could see it during the movie, breaking down. So what's the thing with like the pig faces and the horse faces and like the animal faces? Like, is that told at all during the movie,
I
or
I
is it just like a kind of like a just a director's thing?
Yeah, I think more so that because I don't recall any too
Yeah,
specific, direct mentions either, but just kind of maybe the absurdity of him more than
yeah,
anything.
yeah. So but
Or again, the
that's
split
what.
personality type thing too, like you mentioned.
Oh, could be, yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense. So I'd say out of 10, it's a solid so like it's 7.5 out of 10. Like I actually I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, awesome. I know it's definitely one of my favorite James McAvoy performances, and like it's crazy. I'm sure you didn't get a chance to like look up anything about it yet, but he said that he was like drinking like nonstop for like months before the role to like get himself to like look so fucking sick. Like he said it was a miserable filming the movie because he just felt like shit the whole time to fit that character. So like goddamn, this guy goes all out. That
Goes
would
all in.
not be very fun. And just mentioning Split Man, like I mean, obviously, I think those two movies kind of really showed us how brilliant he is. But like, I think about it this way: I stand firmly on the hill that he should have won the Oscar for Split as an actor because of the fact that he played, who knows how many characters. He was phenomenal in that movie, and when you have that ability, he killed it there. I'm gonna die on that hill. I just want to throw that out there. But Alvin says James McAvoy is truly an incredible actor. His ability to convey his emotions with his eyes really fits in the context of Filth for sure. Yeah, really fun. And fun fact, Alex, James McAvoy's sister was in this movie as well. She played Estelle, who was the what I think, if I'm remembering, she was like the waitress or whatever. These kind of like getting up on, which he said was very awkward to do,
Ah, gotcha.
very
Trip
awkward
out.
to film. But
Huh.
yeah,
Okay.
so shout out to Joy McAvoy. Not obviously as popular into acting as he is, but yes, so definitely quite the experience Filth is. So give it a watch, you guys. And JB Bell, Eddie Marsan also with some great performances there. As Alvin says, Mr. McAvoy looked incredibly unhinged in this movie. Yes, he did a brilliant job conveying all that. But all right. So I had Moonlight this week, and like I said, complete opposite ends of the spectrums in terms of feels and tones and all of that this time around. But it's all right. That's all right. So let's see, where do we start here though? Because I was thinking it was really kind of funny how we go from a Sean Strickland fight week to this movie, Alex.
1000%. Yeah.
You hit me with that. Um, And so first off, I want to say I don't know about meeting or failing to meet expectations or whatever, because I didn't really have too many, obviously, aside from knowing that it was Oscar nominated. And I think like the only thing I knew was like, oh, that it was about a gay guy. Essentially, that was what I remember seeing or hearing about the movie. So I was like, I don't necessarily know too much what to expect. So I always prefer it that way, really. I think movies can be better the less you know, for the most part. um but yeah, I mean, this one, in terms of direction and look, I think, again, nailed it. A lot of the movies we've been talking about the past couple weeks, really good. The colors really popped visually. It was just very pretty. I liked a lot of the look of it. It felt very clean, which I think was kind of nice and poetic in a way, in terms of the setting and what we were kind of watching, because it starts out very subtly, kind of showing the environment in the beginning, where it's not like in your face in terms of, I guess, where things are at, if you put it that way. But yeah, it was, I like the it's hard to talk about because like it's I mean, it's a type of situation and scenario that I've, of course, have never seen before, and you don't really hear about it too much, which I think is why this movie was very important and special to a lot of people. And I love that aspect of it, a unique story like this, and kind of getting through the adversities that Little, or Chiron, had to get through. And it was very funny in kind of some of the earlier scenes. I will say this, I guess, before going on, but first half of the movie is the best part of this movie for me. He's, I think, drops off not hard, but pretty significantly as it goes on in the second half, and I will explain why. But it was really funny listening to the kids talking to each other, like little Chiron, like in his very, very youthful state. I don't know how old exactly he was, but like they talk to each other like adults, just like the lingo and just how they're talking to each other. It's like, all right, that again shows the environment and all that. But that was kind of amusing, of course, to see. I thought the swimming scene was shot incredibly cool. That was a really great moment, of course, in the movie, when Juan, played by Mahershala Ali, who is always
It's
excellent,
so good.
always excellent. Yeah, and that scene was shot where it was like the camera's like half in the water, half out, so it kind of made you feel like, oh, you're you're swimming yourself, learning to swim with him, which was that was definitely one of my favorite scenes in the movie. But then at the end of the first chapter, because this movie was split into 3 chapters of Chiron's life, the table scene before that time jump, Alex, was also one of my favorite scenes, and where Chiron is asking questions just about like, himself and what is going on and things in his life and everything. Very powerful, pretty unexpected with the honesty from Juan, and you kind of see it like fucking all hit him. All hit him. I was like, that was good. That was
Yeah.
probably for me the best scene in the movie. Excellent stuff there. He runs away and then it kind of time jumps. That was great. But then now we're gonna get to problems because Juan just disappears from the movie after that. He's gone. That's the last we see from him. No real explanation. I must have missed it, but I guess it was hinted at somewhere towards the end that he died, which obviously makes sense why he wouldn't be in it. But it was like, dude, fucking Juan was like the most compelling character in this movie by far. Like, Chiron's kind of like a shell to start out, so you're kind of with him and taking in that information and all. But Juan, I really wanted to know more about him. Like, he got right when he gets super interesting, he's fucking gone. So I didn't like that at all. I wanted to know more about where he went, or what happened to him, all that kind of stuff. That was a big bummer for me. Chiron's mom begging him for money was really incredibly dark scene, very dark reality of the drug addiction side of things, and again, growing up in kind of the environment that he was. So that was God, it's one of those fucking scenes though. I will say it was really good, but it's one that like pisses you off where you want to be there, and you know you want to be like, leave him the fuck alone. I know it's your son and all, but God, it's one of those that
She
really gets
she
you.
she shot that she shot her entire or shot the movie in 3 days.
Okay, wow, wow, impressive. That's
Yeah.
faster than Unsane. Going a callback there, but yeah, that was that's impressive. That scene though, again, yeah, very dark
No,
but
I'm
very
not.
good.
I'm
Oh,
saying
you mean
the actress. The
oh,
actress
is it Naomi
shot her.
Harris?
Yeah.
Okay, 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 cool, cool. Wow. Okay, then yeah, that is because she went through like yeah all three of those times as well, all chapters of
Yeah.
the movie. So
Yeah.
very impressive there. Um, yeah, and then the final time jump. I think this is my biggest problem with the movie. It felt very very extreme. It felt very extreme. As Chiron, you know, it goes. It's a 10-year time jump. They let you know that to him being an adult, beefed out. Now he's a drug dealer. All this stuff. We last see him get in a fight at school and kind of have his moment of you know, coming of age. The whole movie is a coming of age movie, discovery, all that stuff. Which great, love that. Was well done, but I just think it missed a bit in terms of definitely the ending. I would have liked to see some kind of glimpse of how he fully went down the path, like that. I just think the things that would have made this absolutely the most interesting were kind of left out. And I think the movie would have benefited from like 30 more minutes just of Juan stuff with him and then this in between period of those 10 years. Um, I really liked how Chiron reverted kind of back to his real self around Kevin. I thought that was wonderful. That was that was great to see and kind of obviously a very big important moment for the ending and all. But yeah, it just the second half of the movie really hurt it for me. I was really gripped and compelled by the beginning of it, but like then Juan just disappears, and so does my my excitement for things. You know, like as I'm a big Mahershala Ali fan as well. I think he's great and all, but yeah, I don't know. There were just some misses in this one. Like it was good, fine movie. I wasn't like falling asleep or anything, but just kind of the story beats and things like that were off and didn't tie together or give me as much as I would have wanted. So not bad or anything. Of course, we're going from 3 10 out of 10s, you guys. So give me some slack here. But this was like a very solid, comfortable 6 for me. I just first half was like significantly better than the second half for me. But yeah, it was good.
I want to tell you. So I saw this. So I saw the movie, or I saw the trailer to this movie. With like a year before it came out, and I was like, "Holy shit! I want to see that movie." And so I had to go seek it out. I had to go drive to LA. So
Oh,
back,
really?
I was like, yeah, like an hour away, and I finally found like one screener of it, and I seen it. I loved it, and I was so happy that it won the Academy Award for Best Picture. But yeah, no, I do agree that like the first portion is way better than the third
Yeah.
half. I like the third half just because I'm a huge Trevante Rhodes fan, so
Mhm.
I like his acting, but I do understand like the contrast is so
It's
it's just
big. It's a big leap.
yeah, and like taking Marasha Ali out of it's like God,
I
come
didn't I
on,
didn't
like
expect that at all either, you know?
yeah,
Like I was
yeah,
waiting and waiting for him to
he
come
was
back.
so good, he was so fucking good,
Yeah. And it's funny too, actually, because he was also in Green Book, right?
yeah,
So I kind of got these movies confused. Like I don't really know what Green Book's about either. But like when you said this, I was like, all right, which one am I getting? And I was like pleasantly surprised to see him there. And um, yeah, that just some misses there for me. Again, not a bad movie whatsoever. I really love the messaging and like the story at its core is absolutely wonderful and super unique. And I think it's kind of it's not funny, but it's like it's it is fun. It's not funny, but funny to see like this drug dealer guy what he becomes, and then
yeah,
having his self realization kind of moments at the end, between maybe his love. You want to call him his love of his life. It's the only guy he had been with and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely very compelling and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just in terms of like the movie and those certain things, yeah, but
1,000%.
I feel bad, going after the tens. It is
No.
what it is. James here says Drake got me into Love Exposure. 10 out of 10, absolutely insane and probably a work of art. Can that be a movie we all watch one day? I would love for everyone to watch it, James, and I couldn't agree with you more. I will give it to Alex one of these days, but I'll make him wait. I'll hold out on him. Synchro says, Drake, have you looked up Concrete Cow's sculpture in Million Canes? I don't know what you're saying. That sounds like something you're trying to get me with there, Synchro. But all right, we will get to we'll get to these questions after. As Alvin says, Moonlight's music was wonderfully done as well. I did like the music a lot. Yeah, the music was very, very good in some parts of the movie. Yeah, like again, in terms of the aesthetic and kind of feel, I think those were probably some of the bigger points for sure. Like I said, it looked beautiful and everything. The color, it was very vibrant. I think that's a great way to describe the look of it. Yeah, it was very colorful and bright, all that good stuff. But all right, let's move along, Alex. What are we feeling this week?
Man, I have two ways. I don't like they're on way
different wavelengths.
Dude, 1,000%. Yeah, like not even on the same fucking universe. So I guess I can give you 1 week, another week, or have you seen Edward Scissorhands?
I actually have not. I mean, like parts of it. Again, it's not a full movie I've seen. Yeah.
There you go.
All righty. I know that's one of your favorites, isn't it?
Sure is.
All right.
I wanted to give you the other one. I'm going to save. It's like a fucking gnarly drama, but it was either between Edward Scissorhands or Nightmare Before Christmas. So, but I went with Edward Scissorhands.
All right. And Edward Scissorhands is Tim Burton too, right?
Tim Burton.
Yes. Okay.
I think 1990.
All right. Good deal. All right. So I'm really enjoying giving you kind of these ones with these actors that you might have missed. I gave you Killer Joe with McConaughey right into the McConaughey kicking off. James McAvoy kind of before maybe getting some of those bigger roles. And I think I want to hit you with one again. And maybe you've seen this one. And it is also part of the McConaughey, actually. He's not the main character, but he is in this movie. Did you ever see Bernie, Alex?
Yes.
2011. Jack Black?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a great one. That was a true story.
Yeah,
so, all right. I'm glad you've seen that one. But kind of fits that category, doesn't it? We're like a little lower budget, but very good. Okay. Then, all right, let's move to this one. I think you'll enjoy this one if you haven't seen it. But I actually watched this movie a couple months ago. Boiling Point, 2019. Very good. Very good. Some more anxiety for you.
Stephen Graham?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, never heard of this.
All right. Yeah, there's this got some good little movie things in it. But,
right.
Boiling Point. All right, good deal there. So those are our movies for the upcoming week. You guys, if you want to watch along with us, please do. Let us know what you think. Alvin, always on top of it. You'll love to see it. But all right, with that, we will conclude the Dralex Movie Club. Another week in the books. We'll wrap things up here with the final questions we got from you guys. Appreciate it so much. As I'm very glad you circled back to this from last week, Ghost, because Alex, we fucking called it. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? But opinion on Bobby Green versus Jim Miller versus Brown at 300. I mean, we just know how the sport works.
It's like we've watched this fucking sport for several years. Yeah, I mean,
it's still good. It's still good. It's just not what we wanted, right? Like that's pretty much it.
Technically, I've been wanting Bobby Green versus Jim Miller for the past 2 years because every time I talk with Jim or Bobby, I always ask them about each other.
It's a 10-year-old fight.
Yeah. So yeah, I just feel like Paul Felder, Jim Miller it was right there on the platter.
Yeah.
Matt Brown right there. But you can do Matt Brown versus Paul Felder now.
Hey, there's a good consolation. I didn't even think about that. Wow, that's why he likes to matchmake you guys. But also, I think you know Bobby Green might still be unconscious. You might want to give him a little more time. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, that's okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, that is the kind of fun thing about it, though. Alex is like, think about this: Jim Miller wins. He's top 15 again. That's insane. That's insane. So
True.
there's that caveat. There's that caveat. But Synchro says the concrete cows of Million Keys. That's the joke I say. Oh, about Lyndon Vassell, since he's from Milton Keynes, and they are known for the concrete cow sculptures. Okay, all right. So it's just me being uneducated, I guess. Lyndon Vassell fans say his hands are made of the same cement of the concrete cows, but
You uneducated wanker.
I know. How dare I not have my Lyndon Vassell knowledge up to date? The swarm. Oh boy. All right, well, we will close out on Linton Vassell talk. Who would have thought? All right, you guys, enjoyed another pound and pound as we get ready for a UFC this week. I actually totally thought UFC Vegas 85 was this week, but they have this gap here for one championship to get the upper hand on them. I guess we will see how that goes. But, we will be back next week, of course, to preview UFC Vegas 85. Sticking with the middleweight division as the centerpiece, Alex, as we get ready for February here. But until then, anything to plug? Anything coming up, my man?
Catch me on Call of Duty because I ain't got shit this week.
Just chilling. Another off week, but yes, we will definitely do some of that. As I have an interview with Miranda Maverick dropping this week. Really great stuff talking with her. Actually, she's getting ready for UFC 298 to take on Andrea Lee. Man, I will tell you, dude, like Miranda Maverick, little spoilers here for you guys for the interview. Check it out. 26 years old, 2 years younger than me, but like she is so fucking smart. Like it's kind of insane. Like just she went really in depth kind of about the situation that she's dealing with her eyes, kind of talking about some of the being open about mental health stuff after the stuff that's gone on recently, and just she's very motivational speaker like she has a career in that if she wants it. Of course, she's well educated. I think if you follow her career, you know that by now. But good stuff with Miranda. Stay tuned for that. Broad Horizon episode 35 be coming out next week at the latest. That is a good one, as well as they always are. Got that Maritza Sanchez interview still out as well, and working on plenty of things, you guys. But I think that will be about it. Until next Tuesday, we will see you right back here at the same exact time. Follow us at Drake Riggs _ at Alex B. Hunan, MMA Mania, for all your mixed martial arts needs. Until then, guys, stay safe and stay sane. Enjoy one championship if you want to shell out the money.